girls, welcome to the Point Gremlins podcast, episode 21, I think. Today we're going to be breaking down basically a lot of league stuff, of course. Since this is going to be a monthly show, and leagues are monthly, I like the focus to be on that and any other intermittent topics that we're going to be breaking down here soon. So tonight I have...
James. Tri-weekly.
Tri-week. Almost monthly. We're almost getting there.
Yeah.
We're missing a frog today. We're frogless today, but today we have myself, James, or Jonas the Red. Am I pointing in the right direction?
No.
We got Alex or Delirium, and down here we have Eddie or Stinger. Cool. I'm pointing it all the wrong directions. That's cool.
Yeah.
Thanks
for watching, everyone.
Yeah. Breaking it down right away, leagues was just this last Sunday. We have our big W. Congratulations, Specs, when you watch this. Very good job.
Huge.
Yeah. Now, Eddie, when you guys were deciding the day of, did you make any last changes to the league's plan the day on Sunday?
We didn't.
Or did everything kind of go the way you expected it to go and start from there?
It definitely did not go. It definitely wasn't the most smooth sailing leagues, but I think we fixed a lot of stuff that we didn't really think about before. I mean, we can't really expect everything to go right every single time. Obviously, gear is an issue every single competitive event and every open play. So that's always going to be a little bit of an outlier. But we had some decision making during leagues. I don't know as much like right before. But I mean, for instance, the first game, I'm playing Luis's team in UBL, and let me look at the teams right here. I had Lenny. Hold on. I remember my team. I promise.
I've got
I had Lenny. Lenny, Assured, Vito, and Metamane were on my team, and we were playing Luis's team, which was Luis, Milkman, Kendall, Odago, and Eclipse in UBL. And Luis was the bodyguard. I ran in there, and I heard him click, and I killed him. I was like, "Ooh, that sucks, man." And he was getting a mag swap. I came in for my second push, and he was still getting a mag swap in there, right in the room. Obviously, we could have done that a little better with having someone in armory, just being able to like send him out there, get a quick gear swap, and then come right back in. But after like a minute and a half, he was in the game. We did get the body with I think 2:18 or 2:15 left on the clock, so he did have a solid minute of defense with his team. And I know that's not the best way to look at it, but after when we got the body, a solid minute of defense. But our overall decision after we got the body, both teams kind of went into the room where an embassy where you take the body, and we were all kind of talking about it. We were like, okay, this is not awesome, but what are we going to do about it? And our general consensus was, if there is a gear issue whatsoever, you are going to sprint right into the armory and start saying, "Hey, I need a gear swap. I need a gear swap right now. I need a gear swap." Okay.
Like start screaming it, run in there. And
just scream in right there. I need a gear swap. Okay. Damien and I will both be on the field. We're going to try the next time. Neither of us playing. That was the plan for this time. We just were short one person to make it a bracket, so I had to play. But hopefully in the future we have either 20 or 24 to make that a little more smooth sailing. Yeah. But our overall decision was we did not replay the round because Luis still had some time to defend with his team. But out of sportsmanship, my team did not start with a bodyguard in the mansion. So we all started in the burlap sack room. We did not have a bodyguard. We did end up successfully defending, but at that point it was like, okay, it sucks that it happened. We're trying to make the most fair outcome for everybody. And I did feel bad for Luis, but it could have happened to anybody. So we can't take it like, oh, I've been friends with Luis for a long time, I'm going to give him some slack. Absolutely not. And Luis is mature enough, and everybody in the situation was mature enough to realize that although it was a crappy situation, we all feel that we took the best course of action, kind of trying to rectify it.
Gear issues are always going to be a problem for in any competitive environment, especially here. What comes down to like the bare minimum of what can be considered a gear issue in your eyes?
So
of course, sensor's not working or the gun not freaking firing. Yeah, that's one.
Yeah,
but where's
that would
like
be
the
big.
lowest bar? You could be like, I need to fix this.
Before I say that, I should say this. After that happened, there's a button on ICE that lets everybody shoot their gun and reload and basically test out if their gun's going to work. Okay. Immediately after that happened, I had no idea about it. And Damien was like, hey, why don't we do this? So at the start of every single round, we did that, had everybody shoot their gun, reload a bunch of times. Okay. So we could at least rule out that their gun was operational. Okay. Now we did have a gear swap here or there, a mag swap, but we at least got it before the game started, and the gear issues were pretty under control after that. Now there was, I think, one instance of someone saying that they couldn't hit someone, but I just kind of put that down to regulars loving to complain about laser tag, and I know it's kind of mean.
Blame the controller. Yeah.
But we've all done it before, so I guarantee every regular at iCombat can raise their hand if we asked them if they've ever been snuffed by gear.
Oh yeah, we all stuff.
Oh yeah, big time. But after that, for gear issues in general, I would say if you can't reload the first time, obviously just try to reload a couple more times, and if nothing, Damien and I will be on the field next time. Okay. This time, Damien was on the field, and I know a couple people had to get mag swaps. After a mag swap, we're good. If it doesn't work after a mag swap, we're in the armory right there. Okay. Done and done. Trying to minimize it, trying to get it down to like maximum 30 seconds after a gear swap. We're always talking back and forth with Simpson, who's been running ice pretty consistently for leagues. Shout out to Simpson. He's been doing a great job, actually putting his mind to it and helping us run it as smoothly as possible. So thank you, Simpson. I told him I would shout it out. Thank you, Alex. But I think that's going to be our best course of action now. Just if you can't reload after one, you're gone. Just cut your losses. You just got to go. I think at least me, I would love to just do that, just to have all that out of there, taking the risk with new gear, instead of just saying, okay, I'm going to try to play around this issue.
Yeah, there's been some. We all had our bit of examples of pretty weird things that are broken down with our gear.
Nope.
And stuff like that. Yeah, actually, Alex has never once had a gear issue ever in his life.
That's true. It's been like over a year. I don't
have your own gut.
I don't remember the last time I've gotten a gear swap.
Oh my god.
I just play with it. You just play with it. Like the gun clicks
Alex,
occasionally, you just play with it. The mag drops out occasionally, you just play with it. The only time you ever really need a gear swap is your gun does not work. There is no functionality.
That was Luis's problem. He clicked and he went to get a mag swap, and he tried to reload a couple times after that. He did spawn in, tried to reload, and then Damien was in there helping him out. So
I haven't played in a while, but my thing is I keep accidentally breaking mag shuttles when we're loading, I guess, a bit too hard. Sorry, your game, but my mag will just fall out on my gun because the little catcher for the mag just breaks and it just falls out of the gun every time I try and reload. It's really cool.
Get out of the gym, Jimbo. Get out of the gym.
Mine's like shattered 3 times. I don't know if that's Eddie borrowing my gun.
One of those was mine. I replaced it though. That was one time.
No, that gun. I don't know why that mag shuttle just shatters.
I don't know.
If your gun breaks in a public session or a competitive session, what do you do that you could fix it that second if you can't find a team leader or whatever? Of course, you're going to try and get a gear swap. It's very useful that there's a lot of extra sets of gear in the back that you have access to be able to swap to try and play. But if you want to try and fix it yourself, what do you do? What do you guys think?
Well, for me, there's a couple things you can do. I did this in leagues when we were playing Rush against Kyle's team. I was defending the third tube, and Siren ran right in front of me, and I clicked. I couldn't reload. I tried reloading once, and I know it's a little weird, but I would tilt the gun where the charging handle is facing up. Okay?
Yep.
And then I would try reloading, and it worked every single time.
It's just how you position the... I think we've talked about this once, but if you don't know, the way the mag shuttle works is there's a little magnet inside the gun, and then your mag shuttle, when it's in the upright position, is covering that magnet, and then all it looks for is for that magnet to drop, which is when you drop the mag, and then be pushed back over the top of it. If this magnet is like this, or like this, or something like that, it's not going to... The gun's not going to be able to know that it has ammo, basically. So those magnets need to be lined up, and that's why like if you like jostle the gun around, and then you might start clicking, and then it might start going back to shooting, then it might start clicking again, or like it reloads by itself or something like that. That's why it's happening. Is there's a little magnet in there. You just have to kind of be gentle with it and prop it up in the same way every single time.
Yeah, the big thing is being gentle with it, not slamming your mag up into the mag shuttle as hard as you can.
Yeah.
Okay. I know I've done it because I've gotten killed and I'm in the middle of a reload and I slam it. Okay. You don't need to do that. Just a nice little pop right back in there. Okay. So many mag shells are broken. Okay, I'm gonna call someone out right here. Ash, you're awesome. Love you. But we fixed your mag shuttle more than anybody else's because you slam your mag. And I know she's gonna be like, oh yeah, whatever. But it does happen like that. You're gonna break the mag shuttle if you slam it super hard, and it's also gonna affect your reload. Okay,
this is so funny.
It happens to my gun. It happened to Gilmore's gun. I don't know. Ash, I guess, just needs to stay out of the gym because she's slamming it up there. Okay. I've seen other regulars do it. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. Especially guys that don't have their own gun. They're like, okay, it's just public gear, right? I'm just going to make sure I have the reload in and slam it. You don't need to do that. It does the exact same thing. As long as you hear that click and that your mag's up, then you're fine. You got it. Don't need to slam it up there. Will help me and Damien with our gear issues a lot.
It sounds like the majority of the problems you guys have is just the gun not reloading or not clicking. Does it really all break down to just that one magnet, or is there anything else you can think of?
It could be the wires getting pinched in there, but most of the time it's usually the magnet.
So it's the main flaw of these guns is be that mag shuttle, right?
Yeah, I would say so. Fixing guns, not as much as Damien or Alex used to, but I can.
I mean,
I'm sure.
90%
Yeah,
of the time a gun is put on the workshop, it's because the mag shuttle is broken in some way.
Yeah.
Sometimes
And it might not be.
I don't know. It's a mix of the mag shuttle and the mag itself. If the gun is like actually broken, it's probably the mag shuttle. If you're having gear issues on the field, it's either the mag shuttle or the mag. Because those things do weird things when they're low on battery.
Yeah. A lot of regulars might recall a time where they were either in an open or competitive session and they can't reload, and then their gun just starts beeping. That will be the gun resetting itself. Okay, so it's like it doesn't see that it has power, the mag is doing something weird, then you reload it and it's like, all right, we're good. You pull your trigger and it starts beeping. Okay, that will be your gun resetting. It's like the gun lost power for a second and now it's back on. Okay, so usually after that, it'll work. But if that ever happens to you, please tell a team leader or Damien or I, and we will get you a new mag or a new gun if it comes to that.
Part of the sport that makes part of the thing that makes this sport so interesting to me is the little micro stuff you can do with the gun. For example, whenever I grab a new gun that I don't consistently have, for example, I'll be using Airgain's gun whenever I play. I try and find that little sweet spot on the trigger to try and find the right spot. Just about how far you can pull back the trigger before the gun actually starts to shoot, and trying to find that nice balance between to get that trying to find that fastest fire rate. There's a couple things like that make the gun a little bit higher of a skill, kind of like ceiling. You can try and find build your way up to it. Of course, brand new player or even a brand new regular is kind of figured out, starting to get a little bit good, isn't going to know some of the things that you could do with the gun to try and get that little bit of an edge on people. Even standing in a particular way, or even really the main one is standing sideways, right? So this sensor on your shoulder doesn't really get exposed very often.
Right.
But what it comes down to the gun is that trigger, it's reloading, really those are the two main things, right?
I think it is a good thing that there's a little bit of a learning curve to the gun. Going back to the trigger, Chief had eye-opening moment during the tournament.
Oh, I love this story. This one's so cool.
You were in the party room after the tournament, and I think it was Kyle and I, I remember Kyle and Chief were in there. A couple other people were in there, but we were talking about sniper and how sometimes some regulars will hold that trigger down to kind of that sweet spot where they feel that resistance, and they will either run or mistakenly peek somewhere and they'll miss a shot because their finger's already halfway engaged on that trigger. Chief heard that, and he was like, "What are you guys talking about? I have no idea. This is new to me." I was like, "Chief, if you hold your gun, like if you hold the trigger halfway through, again, you're going to get that quicker draw on someone." I think Lenny was in there. He was explaining it. I mean, he would go on Legendary all the time, so Sniper is kind of his game. Having that faster reaction time with the gun, not having to pull the trigger all the way. His mind exploded. He was like, "No way. I've been playing it wrong this whole time." And I was like, "Sorry, Chief. Now you know." I guess I don't know how he didn't before, but he had an eye-opening moment on that.
You may think that that little tiny like centimeter, maybe even millimeter of a distance of a trigger is inconsequential to winning a gunfight. Well, think about it, right? How many times you trade with somebody? That's damn near enough instantly that there's enough gap there where you guys kill each other at the same time. If you just get a little bit wider of a gap or smaller of a gap, depending on who shoots first, you could be the only one that, you could be the one that kills the opponent in that particular gunfight anytime.
For sure. I'll do that all
the time. Actually
massive. Yeah, it's huge.
Yes, huge. Creek Chief did hit 4-star without using dual stage trigger. That dude was pulling the whole thing back and forth this whole time.
He was taking his finger out of the trigger guard and then putting it back in every time he needed to push it. Every time. Love you, Chief, but
it's not even like it's 100% the like you get to pull the trigger before like you get to the draw faster than people. It's using that dual stage allows you to like chain your bursts into each other so much faster. If you're like pulling it all the way back, letting it all the way go, pulling it all the way back, letting it all the way go, when you're trying to just like rain fire on someone, it's just terrible. Like that's gonna be so much slower.
There was a big thing at CMP about different types of regulars shooting different types of bursts. So one type of regular would try to chain their threes together, so it was a burst there too. So it would try to chain 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, and other players would go 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. I've always played twos; it just felt more natural to me. But especially at iCombat with the heavier trigger, I always try to go right after that second shot to get my burst as full auto as possible.
I've tried to figure that out before, like how that actually works. A lot of the times when you pull the trigger, I'm pretty sure you don't actually get 3 shots out of it. I'm pretty sure you get like 2 or 1 every time you pull the trigger. Because you can, think about it when you're on burst, you can pull the trigger and only get 1 shot while you're on burst. You can do that.
Yeah.
If you just release it fast enough. But when you're releasing it and constantly pressing it back down, I'm pretty sure you're like getting 1 or 2 shots most of the time. You're very rarely getting 3, because 3 you actually have to hold down the trigger for like half a second.
The entire time, yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of times when you're pulling the trigger, it's about 2 shots every trigger pull.
And I think most regulars kind of subconsciously do that. They're like, okay, if I'm going towards that full auto, they will naturally go for that. After that second shot, I'm pulling the trigger again.
Yeah, I don't think you can shoot the gun faster than that. Definitely, I've tried it. You can definitely kill people with 1 burst. If you are shooting against a stationary target, 1 burst is all it takes. The myth about the second shot missing is fake. We've tested that. It's not real. I think it's like 1/10 of a second is the amount of time it takes for the sensors to read the next shot coming in, and I think the shots themselves last for longer than that, so not a big deal.
Okay. When you're shooting your burst of 3 shots, this idea that the second shot always misses, because, now it's not true, is it because that first shot still is on the target for that 1/10 of a second and isn't removing itself to refresh for that second shot? Does that make sense?
Kind of. I believe the way that it works is you can't hit someone with the same laser twice, I'm pretty sure. If that makes sense, James?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they kind of overlap each other. There's like a slight break in there. It's hard to think about with a laser and the fact that it moves literally at the speed of light, so but originally the misconception is you can't shoot the bell, or you can't shoot someone with all 3 bursts in a burst, and that one of them is going to miss every time just because of the overlap. That's not true.
Why?
Why?
Oh, no, I'm saying I agree with you. I agree with you. It is not true that happens.
I'm going to say, bro, I don't know if I can explain why. I tested it. I just know these things.
Big questions.
I would have to literally like IR cam watch a gun shoot in burst.
Oh, speaking of IR cam,
do you want to show it?
Yeah. So
right,
recently,
I actually have it
Jeremy.
I was ready.
Jeremy has acquired a IR camera, which if you don't know, I don't know how many people have been to Michigan, but that's how they sight in guns there, and I think you're going to start doing that at Waukesha.
Oh, please don't.
But I'm not. I think it's better than using the sensor box, but I haven't fully tested it. So,
it's so not.
Why do you have such a differing opinion, Gilmore? I would love to hear it.
Well, it might be the way that Michigan does it, or it might be the size of their field. But honestly,
it's probably the way Michigan does it.
Believe that they're. Sorry, I'm pulling things up on screen.
I think that Michigan could definitely improve on it, but if you have an IR camera set up and you have a precise target where it is, I think it is better than using the sensor box, only because when I started just going for the bell on Hell's Bells every open play, I would be shooting the bell with my red dot right under the bell, and it wouldn't be hitting. So I'd have to move it around just a little bit to find that exact point where my gun was sighted in to get that ring on the bell.
That is not an issue with the sighting of the gun. That is an issue with the offset of the barrel and the sight. That's like the same thing as like you watch a new player like line up their red dot right on you and they're pulling the trigger, but their fucking barrel is like underneath a barricade or something like that. It's just their sight that's above it, and they're like, I was shooting you like a million times. So like, yeah, but your barrel was like into a wall. You could see me with your sight just fine. If you went like this, it'd be fine. It's like when you're that close to someone, it is honestly better not to use the sight because there is this offset, which doesn't matter if you're firing like upstairs, downstairs, or like across the street. But if you are like directly point blank with somebody, it is better not to use your sight.
Right.
Here is a video I believe Damien made about the actual shot size of the SMG. It's in single fire, so I can't show the burst thing. Just watch this. Whoa! It's freaking out.
Whoa!
What's going on with this video here? Okay, this is there we go. There we go. All right, so watch this. This crate right here, this left crate, and you can see this little blip appearing right here. That is the size of your shot. So that's going to explain why you're missing shots on people. Like, you literally do have to aim for the sensors. And keep in mind, in like
so much smaller than you think.
In tournament play, in tournament play, as well as in ranked play, your shot is going to be even smaller than that. I believe that shot that he's showing is the medium-sized shot, which there's 3 modes for it. There's like a new player that comes in and plays for the first time is going to be on easy. Their shot's like close to the size of like a watermelon. Almost every single regular, I'd say probably every single regular, plays the game on medium. At the beginning of the session, you can look at your gun. There's 3 lights. You should have, I don't remember the order exactly, but a blue light, a yellow light, and I think a red light. If you have a blue light, that means you're on medium. If you have 2 red lights, that means you're on hard, and hard is even smaller than that. Like, that's already the size of, like, I don't know, like an orange, a little bit smaller than a baseball. And when you're, like, even smaller than that, it's like a golf ball.
That's very small. Very small.
You pull up the Barracuda one?
Yeah, the Barracuda one's funny. Hang on, I gotta download it to my browser.
I was just doing a private party the other day, and I was trying to explain to one of the parents that the kid with the Barracuda will have the best stats out of the lobby. He did not agree with me.
Demolish.
And
those of you that aren't super
demolished everybody.
Those of you that aren't super familiar, there's 2 main separates of guns. There's the Barracuda and the SMG. Barracudas are generally only used for kids and public and private sessions. But oh my god, that thing is massive.
It is huge.
Yeah, keep in mind that also used to be 2 shots to kill.
Yeah. Wait, it used to be? They changed it?
I think so. I think
I
it's
thought it
fine
was
now.
always just like, that thing just does 50 damage. It's just a death machine.
I'm pretty sure we like finally went by the wayside of like, why are we just making this horrible for ourselves? And it's I think it's a 4-shot now. Is that right, Eddie? I thought we changed it.
I think it is.
Okay.
4 shots to Barracuda.
Yeah, Barracuda's
25 damage.
Yeah, so that's 4 shots in a regular session.
Yep.
One thing that I think makes these guns like really good to a newcomer is that it shoots in a cone, right? So the further away you are away from someone, it's a bit more forgiveness of how big that shot size is and give you some more chance to hit. It is something a little bit you can like play with as a regular, but generally, in my opinion, just for new players that can feel more rewarded at aiming at someone far away, like, yo, I actually hit that. It's like, well, your shot size got much bigger with someone that's super far away to you, and it makes it easier to hit. Your shot may end up becoming the size of someone's face, for example, and that could hit shoulder sensor and the gun sensor. Your chance of missing is negligible as long as you're aiming at all to a new player, which I think is super nice.
And that's something to note about actually the way the SMG shot works. This is the Barracuda. Whatever, I think I closed it. You don't get to see it. But the way the barrel works and the way the laser works on the SMG is it does like get a little bit bigger as you're shooting down streaks. That's just like how light works. It's gonna spread, but it remains pretty much the exact same size all the way across the field. Unlike the Barracuda, which is like a big fucking cone.
Yeah, the Barracuda is like it really expands.
Yeah.
So really, the SMG.
Is he dead?
Oh,
does thing down.
Whoa.
Oh,
All
he's
right,
back.
he's back.
He's back.
We got him.
All right, what'd you catch?
Oh, you died.
Nothing.
Oh, so the size of the SMG, its shot does stay like the same size all the way down, generally,
yeah,
right?
Like a negligible difference.
Oh, okay. Cool. I'm glad I didn't accidentally confuse everybody with that with my previous sentence.
We got it though.
My internet is currently attached to Starlink's satellite, so I'll occasionally lose a bit of connection depending on where the satellite is and my connection to it. When it rains in the desert, it's just heinous. I just disconnect all the time. It's really cool.
Another thing I wanted to talk about was how the league point system turned out for all the players that played in leagues.
Yeah,
a little spreadsheet.
Let me pull that up for you real quick. Let me close the orangutan tab I have open.
Yeah. As important as it is.
All right, so this is a public document. It is available in the Discord under the Leagues tab. Damien has it pinned in there. So if you ever want to check out the current leaderboard, all you have to do is pull that up. It looks like we've got 21 players listed so far, and only 2 players making it up into the silver rankings, followed by 3 players in bronze 4. Eddie, you want to run down the list and tell me where everyone's at?
Yeah, so real quick, Ali's team did win. Congratulations, Specs. He's on a winning streak with the tournament in leagues. Playing awesome. Okay. Drafted a really good team, too, and you're going to see that whole team on top only because they won the most games. So, again, I know I've seen some people have different theories about how you can exploit the leagues point system. The people that were doing that did not perform well in leagues, so I'm not really too concerned about it. But going down the list, it would be Specs on the top with 265 league points. Tom with 210, Ashray with 195, Waken with 195, Mac 190, and then me with 125, Lenny with 110, 95 for Assured, Vito had 60, 55 for Glue Eater, and so on. You guys can all see that. But if you were confused on how that works at all, we do have the page right over here next to the league's teams. It's basically just how you finish on the leaderboard, and it was a lot more sporadic than I thought. I really did think that the captains of the team were going to just consistently MVP every time, which sort of happened, sort of didn't. I think Ali MVP'd one more time than Tom, maybe once or twice, and got that boost of the 55 league points. But we did want to have it where you're constantly gaining league points. You can't go negative. We're not going to have you just go under the scale. You're always going to be at least bronze 1. So personally, from my point of view, and I think Damien would agree with me, I think the league point system worked exponentially well. I really liked how it performed, and I think a lot of people were really into how many league points they were getting. Like, for instance, Lenny was on my team, and every single time he was like, okay, I know we want to win this game, but how do the league points work out? And a lot of players that were saying, okay, we could lose this game, but we could also do this, and then if we win this game, depending on how we go, I could gain league points. Do I go negative? All that stuff. So I think that the point that we were trying to get across of trying to bring new players into leagues, or just creating a new environment for past league players and more recurring regulars, it did its job. I think that everybody was super into it, and they really thought that it added a new kind of dynamic. Not really how they played the game, but definitely how they approach the game. They don't just want to go for kills or anything like that. It's really, really forcing that you have to go for objective. So I think that worked out pretty well. And based on the numbers between what we have right here, I think that the divisions will not be super unattainable. I think everybody will be able to move up if they're playing leagues pretty easily.
Yeah, so let's actually think about that a little bit too. So there's probably going to be around 16 leagues by the end of the year. That's just, if you're doing one every 3 weeks, it's about how it turns out to be. And let's just do something like multiply Specs' points by 16. He is going to be in Masters. For sure, if you do that, that's assuming he gets this many points every single time he plays leagues, and he plays all 16 leagues. It would take him around 7 or 8 leagues to be the first person in Masters, and then it would take Tom around 10 leagues to follow that up. Obviously, just going based off of this one league. So I think that does show that it's going to be hard to get all the way to Masters. It's going to take a lot of winning, and about halfway through the season is when you'll see the first people start to creep into that Masters range and start probably falling in and out of Plat 3 and 4 until they maybe hit Masters for a little while as well. You said you can't go negative in overall points, but that does not mean you can't go negative in a league session. So let's say that Specs plays one more leagues at this. He could end that league on 25 overall points, right?
Correct.
Yeah, because it's... How do I explain what I'm saying? You can't fall below bronze, but you can fall below your last point you played at.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's just say this. You can definitely go down a league point. So I might be misconstruing what you're saying, but let's just say Oliver has 265, right?
Yeah.
And he plays his first game of leagues. Okay, so I think his the first game was UBL. So let's just say Oliver has a really, really bad day, and he goes bottom of the leaderboard both times, and he loses both matches. He would lose 50 league points. Now, for a player like Eclipse, it was his first time playing leagues, and he ended up with 25 league points overall. So let's just say Eclipse does that. After that first round, he cannot lose any more league points if he gets last on the leaderboard, because he will already be at 0.
Right.
So if he loses that second one, then his league points will not be affected.
Yeah, and remember, so this is not, Specs did not get 265 points for, the 6 matches he played. He got 265 league points for the 12 rounds he played.
Correct.
So every single side is... So, you play team deathmatch, you get league points on one side, and then you get league points on the next side. So
Correct.
It matters on winning every single round as well.
Yeah. Yep. And I think that's what a lot of people were confused about, just not gaining league points based on every game. That also takes into effect that, like, for Rush, Kyle and I's team tied in Rush. We both got 3 people in the last 2. So we would have more opportunity to gain league points through the team deathmatch tiebreaker that we had than teams that didn't play that extra round of team deathmatch.
So I'm just making sure I got this right as well. So you, in a scenario where you played a tiebreaker round, you would get 3 chances to earn league points. It would be the first round of Rush, the second round of Rush, and then
your tiebreaker.
The tiebreaker, yes. And
yep.
It's the way that the placements work right here as well for everybody. It has always been this way from the first time we showed it, where it's no matter what happens, if your team won, you're going to earn points. You earn more based off of how well you do on your team. And then if your team loses, you're always going to lose points, but the amount you lose is based off of how well you did on your team as well. As well as, if you can see here, like 6th place is plus 25 on the winning side, and 6th place is minus 20 on the losing side. So it's winning is always going to net gain you points. If you lose one round and win the next, you are still going to gain points overall.
Yeah. Yep. And that's how we wanted it to be. We didn't want people to just be like, oh, I'm losing so many more league points than I'm gaining. So we wanted to kind of be, I mean, I guess a little nicer to everybody and not have it exactly equal. So, like, if you got first place on the winning team, you get 50. And we did not want to have it where it was like, if you get last on the losing team, you also lose 50. So it, like, forces you to get first on the winning team for the next time to even net even. We did not want that. We wanted everybody to kind of consistently be growing and moving through the ranks. We didn't want it to be like, oh, there's only a couple people actually moving up. We wanted everybody to have the chance to move through as many ranks as possible.
Yeah, and remember as well, this is for an entire year. These points are going to stay as they are, or they're going to move around, obviously, but this leaderboard is going to exist for an entire year before the next season of leagues, in which it will be reset.
Correct. So up until the tournament, this upcoming tournament next year, this doc will be updated after every single leagues. So not every single player that will play this league is going to play the next leagues. Hopefully, I would love that to happen, but in a perfect world, people have other plans, stuff like that. And I would also love to have a bunch of the regulars that didn't play this leagues get onto that doc. We also didn't want to have it where it's like it's mandatory for you to play every league to even have a chance at moving up. We wanted it to be that if you miss a league or 2, you can still really be in that running for either a master spot or even a top platinum spot.
Looks like if you did not play in this first leagues, you didn't miss the boat. You still have a chance to play and make some points and still gain some good distance on this leaderboard and get pretty good. Well, if you keep playing consistently, but just playing just one, sure, you'll end up probably just like through a bunch of the ranks of bronze. But play 2, play 3, you'll move, you'll fly.
Yeah.
Hopefully your team's good too.
The way this leaderboard currently stacks up, all it takes is 4 games right now. 4 games to get into 3rd place. That's not a lot. That's like
everybody is still in the running.
Not even half of a league.
Right. We wanted to make it close. We wanted it to not be a blowout, and hopefully that will be more of an incentive for people to come and play, or just play harder when they're at leagues, if that's possible. We also did a little slide, just for a side note. We did a slideshow update, so I know a bunch of us have like profile pictures or GIFs on the TVs that I combat. We have one of Ollie, which has the best profile picture, hands down. Yeah, it's amazing. And that definitely, I think, helped him win. Okay. But for the current league players that have played the last leagues, we're going to be adding those slides. And another thing, I think everybody will agree on this. We would really, really love for everybody to have. There it is. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. We would really love everybody to have a profile picture for leagues. Yeah, I know everybody usually has one for their main account, but if you want to come to leagues maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes early, we ask everybody to get there half an hour early, but you know how that goes sometimes. If you're there and you don't have a profile picture for your leagues account, come in and grab one. Okay, we're gonna put all these leagues things on a different slideshow, and we're gonna have it so where if you're a leagues player, you're gonna be on there, and it's gonna say all these stats on there. your name, your current league points, your rank, and your profile picture. So we really want everybody to kind of do that. We think that'd be a cool atmosphere for leagues, or a cool addition.
Rank 15 on that is. What does that mean? Does that mean
his
higher number that
level?
Oh, okay. It just happens to be the
that's just his league account level.
So it might take. It might take too much like having to go back and edit the slideshow and stuff like that all the time. But I think it would be nice to have the like overall like leaderboard position for leagues.
Yeah.
On these, so like showing specs as first as now.
Number one.
Like, so this is the guy to pass his league points. Would be
maybe we do a slide of like the top 10 league players and then number 1 on the right, or just a full leaderboard. We could definitely experiment with that. I love that idea. Yeah.
And keep in mind, everybody, that this is all for playing for an SMG. Like at the end of the year, this is the top league points gets in SMG. So these guys really do have a target on their back. This is the current bar to pass if you want your shot at winning yourself an SMG. So I want to see some people get competitive with it, stay respectful, but really try and earn your shot at this.
Yeah, this guy is the top. This guy with this picture is the top of the chain right now. That's a good. How are captains decided with the new ranking system?
Eddie?
Sure. He's gone.
All right, Eddie is a corpse. But they did say the last time we did the podcast, they were saying that they wanted to keep captains deciding captains the same way they were before, where they wanted to have it be ever changing of like top skill ratings to somewhere in the middle to the bottom skill ratings, that sort of thing. I don't know if they're using skill ratings or if they're going to be using league points or how they're going to determine that. We'll probably be able to get that answer from Eddie when his Wi-Fi comes back in a second here. But I do believe they want to change captains week to week, so it's not the same people every single time. But
yeah, that's probably in the best interest. Last season, they were swapping it around kind of just to see what kind of things were. They were doing best players, they were doing worst players, mid players, flip the coin players. Everybody's captain is clean out somehow, stuff like that. So this year, since they're taking a more competitive angle towards it, I wonder if they're going to put some different thought into that or some more thought into it. I'm not sure what the direction they're going to go in. Otherwise, though, I think we can kind of move on to what it is like to build one of these teams. Do you want to start?
Yeah, I mean, I've only drafted one league team, but to be the captain for one of these teams is... Sorry.
Erwin got you.
To be to be chosen as a captain for this is obviously come in a little early, and you're brought into the room, and Damien's gonna leave a little sheet in front of you, and you're gonna go through and do your snake pick of your drafts. And overall, you want to obviously draft like your stronger players first and stuff like that, but it's important to keep in mind like what players you have and what players you like need for like how you want to play your game. Like drafting, I guess I hate classifying people into these terms, but like a kill player versus an objective player, that sort of thing, I think it's so contrary, but whatever.
It's the CMP way of thinking about it. Like you see, like I'm sure you've been in other fields. I know you have, and that these different fields classify people in different ways, and they do a whole laser tag system, and it's like have different thought process when it comes to it.
Yeah, I think it's so unfair to the players to like classify people like that, but in some senses, it very is true. Like once you get to the better players, they're not as easy to classify that way, with exceptions, of course.
You can put them into any box they want to be put into, but some of the players that are still figuring it out may have a skill set that better fits them into one box. Welcome back, Eduardo.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, don't worry about it.
But traditionally the way that leagues work is you want the captain of your team to have the shot at being the leader of that team. I think that's an awesome way that the leagues does it, with being able to rotate between captains, because it gives everybody a shot to play out their own strategies. So I obviously loved building like team positions, team strategies for different game modes and stuff like that. And I think it's interesting to have not the same people every single time building these strategies against each other. So instead of like me planning to play against Specs' team every single time, it's going to be I don't know, clean out strategy versus the Nate team.
Ooh,
what could it
cool.
Possibly be? How could you possibly plan to play against Nate?
I don't know what you do to play against Nate.
Let's see what clean out comes up with. And it also gives, like, if I play on someone else's team, it gives me an insight onto how other people think, and it gives me ideas for how I want to play my next round. It's like, let's say I'm on Cleanout's team, and he comes up with this brilliant plan that I would have never thought of. I'd be like, well, I might replicate this in my next plan or something like that. Cleanout's totally got me here. So,
while you were gone, Eddie.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Mac asked a good question about how captains are going to be done. Do you guys have any insight on that yet?
We are going to leave it up to you guys. So this first time we just basically picked the people that we thought were going to be best captains. And this next time we're going to leave it up to everybody. So we're still going to have the highest skill ratings be in the voting, as well as medium and lowest. And it's all going to be based on who signs up for that leagues that puts them into that category. So on some leagues, Ash might be in the higher skill ratings. Some leagues, I know she's been a captain in the middle skill ratings. It all depends on which regulars sign up for that leagues. And I think that's worked out great in the past. We've had middle and lower skill ratings, and people have loved it. So I think that we're going to definitely keep that up. But for the first one, Damien and I just kind of wanted to be like, all right, these are who the captains are, and we're just going to play this out like it is.
Yeah,
couldn't you like choose the captains dependent on league skill points? So we see a Specs again, we see Tom this time, we see, I don't know who else is on the top of this list, I should pull it up.
That is our end goal.
Scumbag Lenny.
Yeah, that's our end goal, to where we have built up enough of a basis in league points, maybe after the fourth or fifth, maybe sixth leagues. If we have people that are kind of, above everybody, kind of people that are floating around the same area, and people that haven't really played a lot of leagues or have played a lot of leagues and they're maybe in the lower ranks, we definitely wanted to move into that. That was more of a reason why we wanted to do league points in the first place, is to kind of stray away from skill rating and go more into how you play with your team. Going just purely objective, not, I can drop 75 kills and get the highest skill rating, but that doesn't mean you're cohesive with a team at all, right? That doesn't mean that you're going to win a bunch. It means that, you yourself are a really good player, but that does not mean that you're working well with the team and winning a lot. Hopefully we can get to that soon.
It's okay, I want to do a little side tangent here, but looks like Mac's talking about forfeiting games to be a way to prevent the enemy team from gaining points. I think a very simple solution for that is, if you forfeit as a team, your team decides to forfeit a match, all of you are going to take the -20 league penalty point for being in last place on your team. And I would say everybody on the winning team would get the medium amount of points. So this way it's not preventable both ways. Like if there's someone on the enemy team you want to gain a bunch of points, we're not going to give everybody 50 points. Give them all, like the fourth place, 35 points or something like that.
Yeah, so let me give you a little more context into that. The final game of leagues was Oliver's team versus my team in Breakthrough. We had won the tiebreaker in Rush, and Oliver's team had won Rush, so we were going to have the chance to double dip them. So if we would have won Breakthrough, then we would have gone to Sniper, and if we would have won Sniper, we would have won. Obviously, that didn't happen. But the first round of Breakthrough, they slaughtered us so bad. They whooped us by like 160 or something like that. It was like 180 to like 330 or something like that. We got rolled. And I know I was frustrated, and some of my team was just like, whatever. And we kind of just threw the last round. We didn't play a second round of breakthrough. We didn't. We definitely forfeited, and I'm not going to blame it on anybody else. It was for sure my call as a captain. And I definitely think we should do that. I'm going to talk to Damien before we do that, but I definitely think that should be, a factor. And if you forfeit a match, you should totally be down 25 or 20, and then the other team should gain because we didn't give them a chance to gain or lose league points. So I know maybe some people will be frustrated with that, but for me, in hindsight, hindsight is always 2020. Should have just played the round out, but at that time I was thinking a little differently. So I strongly agree that we should do that. Obviously, I'm not going to make any calls without talking to the frog first, but yeah, that's definitely what Mac is talking about.
I really wish this was never even like a topic of discussion, to be honest with you, because this entire league point situation should not be something that people are trying to exploit. Like, the way you should be trying to look at this is you want to win your way all the way to number 1 to earn yourself an awesome prize. Like, this is something me and James built and then passed down to Eddie and Damien, like, that is for the community, for iCombat regulars. This has not been a thing for as long as I've played until now, so it should be treated as a higher competition and something that is just for regulars. Everybody that plays in these are the only people that play in these. Get more people involved and stuff like that, but this is not something that should be, I don't know, Woodland.
Yes. But I am always on the thing of, if you're a newer regular, like, for instance, I know we've talked about this before, but he's like the perfect example. Max, he was level like maybe 40. He had got a little bit of playing time under his belt. He had played with regulars, and I convinced him to play his first leagues. And I always think that it would be a good idea to get new people that haven't played leagues, that have playing experience, into leagues. Like Eclipse for his first time. He's into his Eagle, and he had never played a leagues, right? So I want newer regulars to be into leagues, just one, to grow the community and just not have the same people playing all the time, but also for those same people playing all the time to have a little more variety in who they can pick, or what other different plans could work with different type of regulars that they might not have played with in a competitive setting. I think that's a super cool aspect of leagues, but I do agree with Alex that it is for regulars. That's why we want to give you guys most of the decisions that Damien and I are making. Now, some of the stuff, like with Luis's gun, was more of a Damien and I decision, but for the players that were over there, I didn't just want to hear from my team, and I didn't just want to hear from Luis's team. Everybody had an input in that decision, and I think that's why voting for game modes and voting for captains at various skill ratings is a thing that has kind of intrigued more regulars into either coming into play or saying, okay, this league is going to be different than any other leagues we've played before. So I think that's a really cool dynamic that we offer with leagues.
Yeah, and leagues, as well as like these extra game modes that have been created, such as Breakthrough or Hive and stuff like that, are things that like me, James, Eddie, and Damien have done a lot of the times, like stayed after work, like off the clock, just wanted to mess around, see what we could come up with, sort of ideas. Like, that's how a lot of games, like, we figured out you could play whack-a-mole with the stupid hacker targets and stuff like that. So if you've ever played 13-tube whack-a-mole, that's like how that sort of thing exists. So it is, when these sort of things are tried, it's real. When we try these sort of things, obviously we want your feedback and stuff like that, but I don't like it when it's like, don't bombard with like the overwhelming negative. Don't try and exploit these things. Play it if you find an exploitation, tell us about it so we can fix it. You
Right.
don't have to do it first. If you catch my drift.
Kyle.
Nah, I don't even know nothing about that. But I was like, there are other individuals.
Love you, Kyle.
But overall, I think
Well-
everybody enjoys leagues, and I'm very happy to hear that.
I love seeing the comments in chat. Yeah. Cool. My trip down here, I looked at a bunch of different fields. A lot of these other fields just aren't doing the same sauce. They're not the same stuff. They just throw you into a team deathmatch and then have you guys shoot each other. There isn't a whole lot of thought of strategy. There isn't a whole lot of competitiveness between regulars. There's just like one regular killing a bunch of new players over and over again. You play team deathmatch, sniper, team deathmatch. That Waukesha field is doing the pinnacle of this game, and I know it's going to be bigger than what you guys can think it's going to be. And this is the place where it's going to start from.
Hopefully. I just want to make everybody clear. I was the whiny baby at the last leagues. Point your fingers at me right now. I'm seeing it in the chat. Just do it right here. Okay? The blame is on me. All right? And as a runner of leagues, we're going to find out a way to make it right. Okay? Whether that's taking league points away from my team and adding it to yours, or making a new system in the future to where it is set in stone if there is a forfeit. Shut up, Mac. That we can rectify to make it go as smoothly as possible. But I'm glad that the people that were affected by that aren't extremely mad. I can see that Mac is like laughing in the chat, but the people that also got forfeited on were at the top anyway, and I know in the grand scheme of things it is just about league points. But yeah, we'll definitely do something to fix that. So don't just be like, hey, we snubbed you guys out of league points. We're gonna be doing it.
All right. Does anyone have any other topics for today?
I think that's all I wanted to talk about.
I mean, I could talk about League Tech forever, but
It's
it's been
true.
an hour.
We did already
We'll save it
go
for
off
next
the
time.
rails a little bit today. The majority
A
of what
little
was
bit.
talked
I'm just
about was
gonna-
not planned. But these
Yeah.
things happen.
Yeah. Again, as I always say, I would love any feedback or comments or anything like that. Now, if you're just going to come up to me and say, League sucks, okay, that's fine. But if you're going to come up to me and say, hey, I would really love to see that maybe we do a leagues where it's just a voting between middle and lower skill captains, or we don't play a game that's been played every single leagues. Or if you guys have an idea for a game mode that's not usually played in competitive setting and you want it to be played, like, come talk to me and Damien about it. It's not like we're just going to be like, oh no, it's just us, right? It's, again, for you guys, and we want it to be as impactful to you guys as it is to me and Damien. So,
Same thing
and
with
for
like
Alex and Gilmore, or
same
James.
thing with like actual game modes too.
Yeah.
Like Breakthrough exists because James made Breakthrough. Breakthrough's like the premier competitive session game mode.
Yeah. Yeah, James, take it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was huge. Yeah.
Appreciate
Seek and
it.
Destroy is another one. I think Alex like laid the foundation and then we kind of just made it a deal.
Shit on it.
So I like it, but
All
okay.
right. Thank
I
you
think
for
we're good.
everybody
Thanks for watching,
for
everybody.
tuning in this week, and that is going to conclude episode 21 of the Point Gremlins podcast.